Mike Blood, who will be introduced by Mike Cooper soon. We have a potential prospect in Colin Bielke. Would you like to wave to the group? Say hi. And welcome. Hopefully you can continue to come the next couple of weeks. Pastor Paul has a guest. Would you like to introduce him for us, please?
This is Pastor Michael Rivera. He used to be on staff and worked at Crossroads for many years, and then recently has taken a position out at Bloomington, Illinois. He's back to be our guest preacher this Sunday. Don't miss it. 9:30. I'll pay my buck. It's worth it. Located, where is it located? Cedar and There we go.
Those on Zoom may not have heard that it's visiting Pastor Mike, and he will be preaching this morning at Cedar and Dodd. There's another element. So, do we have any other guests attending?
Yeah, potential member here.
No, he's already put his application in.
Dan Perez. You're getting his application. As soon as that check clears, you will be welcoming him as a full-time guest. So, now on to announcements. Mike Cooper, you have your one. No, you'll get a full 1 minute. We're giving you your due here for the blood drive. Now he's down to 30 seconds.
I just wanted to double check. When I was up here last week, I know you don't remember the number, but it was 134 people had signed up for the blood drive. Through hard work of Gordy Erickson and Chris Jack, we're at 217. I mean, this is the I'm making arrangements right now to get more spots available. So it's just been phenomenal. I just want to say, what we did this year, we've got the high school kids involved, and they've reached out to parents, and I think, every day I'm seeing jumps of 20 and 20. We're trying to keep those kids involved. So we're going to need help for the blood drive in the canteen area. But what we're going to do this week is try and get the kids to fill those slots up. And if they don't, I want to reach out to you guys and maybe you can help. But it's like a 2-hour time slot. It's August 18th from 11 to 7. But I want to get the kids first so we get them involved in this.
I was at a ribbon cutting yesterday, and I know the chamber, Krista mentioned it, so it's nice that we can team with other nonprofits to get this done for the betterment of our community. Lewis House is having a drive, and I understand Nancy has some information on that. Nancy?
Morning. Some of the things that they are looking for are that I can have Kathy send out a bigger list, but the main things that they're looking for is body wash and hair care products for multicultural women, twin bed sheets, and $10 Uber gift cards. So if you can help out with that, we will have a speaker here on the 20th of August, and you can bring your items then. Thank you.
Thank you, Nancy. Richard, if you would, oops, I see a waving of an arm behind. Oh, he's coming up. Ken Wentworth has the floor.
Good morning, Rotarians. I want to remind everybody of our upcoming Rotary picnic at McDonald's on the 27th. There's an online sign up, and please go there. We're trying to get my final numbers here on who's going to come. There's really just not a real limit on the number of people because it's open space. It's open to Rotarians and their family and friends and guests. So please go online and look at that link, and I'll have Kathy resend that out as a reminder. Thank you.
So Ken, just for the guests that may not know, it's
Yeah.
not like McDonald's. It's like Tony and Patty McDonald's out.
It's true. Yes, Patty McDonald's.
Lake, beautiful
beautiful lake overview, tables spread out. We'll have a little buffet from Divine Swine, and it'll be a beautiful afternoon.
Thank you, Ken. Okay, Richard, please come up, and I think we'll have probably 2 minutes, and this is very important, but he's wanting to talk to us about. I think he'll introduce Rachel, who has some marketing part of the taste as well.
Good morning. We've had a pretty good closeout with auction, so we're got a lot of good things in, and it's coming together really nicely. So the auction begins 13 August in about a week, and we really need the members to help us build awareness, put the word out, get on your Facebook groups, and get some good buzz going for this. And I don't know, does Rachel want to say anything on
I
that?
was told she had an announcement on how to share on the Facebook and social media.
Is she there? There she is. Oh, it's here.
Yep.
I'm sure something.
Let her know.
Oh,
It's her turn.
Rachel, did you want to put that information out on Facebook?
No, she wants to tell the members how to do it.
Oh,
What do you need from me?
Well, yesterday in our meeting, we were told that you were going to give an announcement on how to share on Facebook for the members.
I'll tell you, why don't we'll put some information out by email on that later today, and we'll tighten that up.
Okay.
Okay, sorry about that. So anyway, so what we're gonna do is we've got some ways to market this, and we'll tighten that up and get that out to the members in an email today. So overall, it's looking pretty good. If you take a look at sponsors, auction, and also part of auction is the wine judging boxes in partnership with Lakeville Liquor, which will be, part of this auction. We're looking at over $50,000, so it's coming together pretty nicely. And a final plug on the Greg Paterka Member Challenge for anybody who wants to buy their tickets. He bought all 6 of his tickets, and he's laid the gauntlet out there. So thanks for your help again. Please look at ways that you can build awareness and buzz and get the information out to your networks on the auction. That begins in a week from today and then closes out on the 19th.
You have a question from Gordy?
Yes.
Is there going to be any printed advertising?
There might be a little bit. And we've got, some posters here. Yeah, we'll get this out to the members also, which has some good marketing points. And a short meeting afterwards.
Not to put too fine a point on it, but every table has a flyer or two, and you'll notice a QR code. So most of us have smartphones, and if you scan the QR code, it takes you right to the Silent Auction Pro. Mention our number, which is 764. And we won't be able to bid on the items until the 13th, out of fairness for everyone, and then it runs through the 19th. But please share that information with your circle of influence. Thank you.
764.
764. I think it says it on the flyers as well.
If you scan the QR code, it brings you directly.
Yes, and the QR code takes you directly to our page. Now, Mike Cooper will be introducing our guest speaker, Mike Blood, and his spouse. Sorry, I didn't catch your name, but Mike will mention that too as well. So thank you and welcome, and we're looking forward to it.
Our speaker this morning is Mike Blood. Mike and his wife Sherry are here. They both graduated from Minnetonka High School, and they've just celebrated their 50th wedding anniversary. So they have 2 adult children and 4 grandchildren, and Mike's now retired. He attended the University of Minnesota prior to going into active duty as a rigger in the Army Airborne. Mike was a member of the Edina Police Department for 29 years. My wife and I met Mike and Sherry at a Memorial Center fundraiser a year ago. He's an ambassador for Memorial Blood Centers and has traveled all over Minnesota helping recruit blood donors. He's also on the board of the Minnesota Association of Injured Police Officers. Our club has made a tradition of honoring the men and women in blue every month at our meetings, and it's to express our gratitude for their service. And it's as part of the group that looks for speakers, I thought it was very fitting. Mike graciously accepted my invitation to join us for breakfast and share his story. For me personally, it's a pleasure to meet someone that's actually been I apologize to all of you. I'm committed to blood donation, and it's a privilege to meet somebody on the other end of the blood donation. It's a real inspiration because you know that blood you donate is really saving someone's life. So I'll turn it over to Mike.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm happy to be here today, and you don't have any idea how deeply I mean that because of my circumstances. Can everybody hear me? Okay. As he said, I'm a Minnetonka kid. So I was born and raised in Minnesota, other than a few months that I spent away from here in the service. I was in November 16, 2000, I was a police officer for the city of Edina, where I'd been for, well, almost 30 years. And I was happy to be where I was. We had 50 officers at that time, and if you've worked a number of places in your life, you're aware you don't always have a perfect group that you work with. At that time, out of our 50 officers, I would trust and be happy to work with 48 of them. And the gentleman over at the table over there is one I was happy to work with. No, it couldn't. Anyway, I did enjoy the work tremendously. It was a good group, and I was proud of what we did. I didn't find out until noticeably later at the end of my career that a lot of other people did appreciate what I'd done over the years also. Anyway, on November 16, 2000, I was going into work my first day of the day shift that week. And we had 5 of us on duty. And what we have to do is find out what's happened in the previous 24 hours and know the things that we have to look for as police officers. That morning, we had a young lady with us who was on her first day as a police officer by herself. She'd been in training for about 7 months, something like that, with training officers. And then she was going to spend a week on the day shift, finding out what that's like, because she worked the 3 to 11 and the dog shift. And she was going to be by herself. And So I greeted her. I met her a number of times at shift changes. But I said, we'll meet if it's okay, if you're interested. We'll meet at the park between our two zones. I was north of 62 Crosstown, and most of you are aware of the area. And she was south of 62 Crosstown, down by Southdale. Well, anyway, we did meet for about 10 minutes that morning. I advised her of some of the things she'd have to look out for that day and some of the things she could expect to get. And tried to help her, let her know that we all cared about her, and we went back to our respective zones. That morning, shortly before 10 o'clock or around 10 o'clock, our dispatcher called over the air and advised us that there was a bank robbery in progress at the bank down by 69th and France. As would be the case, we were told that we had a bank officer calling on a cell phone, so I knew that we had pretty good information as to what was happening in the bank. All 5 officers volunteered to go. And it was the zone of the young lady that I was telling you about on her first day by herself. So anyway, my thought as I'm going, you always have to come up with a scenario of what you want to do and what you want to accomplish at a call. I'm thinking as a police officer, I don't want to rush up to the front door and have the bank robber, which was a single person, in a 3/4 length coat with a hat covered up pretty much. I don't want to pull up and have him see me out front, so I want to look for his getaway car. And I know at 10 o'clock in the morning, he isn't going to want to cross 6 or 8 lanes of France Avenue to get to his getaway car. So he's going to park the other direction. And I also know he isn't going to want people in the bank seeing him getting into his car. So he's going to want something between the bank and where he parks. I pretty much knew where he would park, and that's where I headed. As I came to the area, the first car I see facing out has no front plate. It's a green Ford Explorer. And anyway, I called out the location, the lot, and I got out of the vehicle with my gun. As I walked around to the back, a young lady had come out of the building that was right in front of where his car was parked, and I yelled at her to get back into the building. She was about to light up a cigarette. I said, "It's not safe here, stay inside." And she did run back into her business. Anyway, I walked around to the back of the car, saw that there was no rear plate, and then peeked in the driver's side window as I was going back to my squad. And on the passenger side floor was a bag with a bunch of guns and ammunition in it. It turned out to be, I believe, 7 guns and about 2,000 rounds of ammo. Okay, I'm pretty sure this is the guy.
You mean they haven't gone shopping at Macy's?
I went back to my squad, put my gun in the holster, and my thought is I'll back over to the next slot, get another squad, and we can confront the robber in the parking lot away from other people, and nobody else will be in danger. As I started to back up, he stood up from between 2 vehicles, about 12 to 15 feet from my passenger side door. As I saw him stand up, I turned to look like this, and he rotated up an assault rifle with a big banana clip on it. He pulled the first round off immediately, which went through my passenger side window, struck me right next to my gun, and went through both hips. I realized if I stayed, I was dead. I threw the door open, got down, and started to run behind my car. was trying to get behind a little hill for something to use as a screen, something to protect me. As I ran, he circled spraying rounds through my car. One of the rounds that went through my windshield and out the back window hit my right leg, midway between the knee and the ankle. And by the way, even with the round that had gone through my hips, you'd be surprised what you can do when your life depends on it. You can still run. But anyway, as my leg was struck, it took out 6.5 inches of both bones, the calf and the Achilles. The leg went out to the side and I fell forward. I couldn't catch myself. It was kind of like being punched. You see stars for a few seconds. And as I fell, I hit my face and this shoulder. Well, when I hit the shoulder, any of you medically related, there's a nerve that goes through your shoulder. And if you hit that real hard, you can't move your arm for quite a while. Well, as it turned out for me, it was about 4 months. But anyway, I was down and I was trying to reach for my gun and I couldn't get it. So laying face down, I realized my only alternative here with the leg gone is to play dead. And that's exactly what I did. I took one deep breath and held still. By that time, a number of people from the local buildings had heard the gunshots and were looking outside. And they said that the robber had then come up about 10 feet behind me. And he put 2 more rounds into my back. Both of those rounds, I should say, he was using a cop killer bullet that had Teflon on the outside. And basically when that Teflon hits something hard, it breaks up and becomes a lot of little pieces, which is like a shotgun blast. Which is why I'll do a show and tell at the end, but I'll show you what a single round will do. But anyway, as he put the last 2 rounds into my back, I was at that time about 280 pounds. I played hockey 3 nights a week, year round, to keep in shape for police work. And also to take any frustration I had out at the hockey rink, so I didn't take it out on the people out on the street. I was generally a pretty easy person to get along with. I think even he would back me up there. He's gonna get picked on, yes. But anyway, with the last 2 rounds, as I'm laying down, my body at 280 pounds bounced off of the ground. I could not believe the power of a round. And remember, this story has a good ending. I saw stars again after the last 2 shots, and I came back to clarity about the time he was getting into his car. I saw him open the door, throw the big gun on the seat, and shut the door behind him. At that time, I had a portable in this hand. And I said over the air, "Officer hit, officer hit." And I had given the description of the vehicle again before I had gotten out of the vehicle. But anyway, he pulled out of the parking lot. The next officer coming to back me up was Officer Bill Moyer. He saw the suspect pull out of the parking lot and turn northbound, if anybody knows the area, up towards the swimming pool at Edina. And when he passed Officer Moyer, Moyer made a U-turn behind him The guy stopped in the middle of the road, not very far up, got out with the rifle again and opened up on the second officer, Officer Moyer. I think he had 7 rounds left from the 30-round clip. Officer Moyer was not struck directly, but one of the rounds had hit the spotlight, and I think he was struck by pieces of glass from the spotlight. So he was bleeding, or he had some blood coming down onto his forehead and around his eyes. And when the guy ran out of bullets, Officer Moyer emptied his gun, and the suspect started off, he wasn't struck, and started going westbound just below the swimming pool into a residential area. Well, Officer Moyer, after he emptied his gun, tried to pursue, but he found that his car was dead because one of the rounds had gone through the electrical system of the car. So he then called it out over the radio, told the other officers, and 2 other squads then followed him westbound over Highway 100 and into a residential area there at a 4-way intersection, or a 3-way intersection, or a dead end for straight ahead. And anyway, he hit the curb at the far side and blew a tire on his Ford Explorer. I don't know if you remember, but back then Ford was having a problem with their Wilderness tires. Probably the only thing good that came out of that. Anyway, he withdrew his rifle again, and that's right, I'm out of bullets. He grabbed another magazine from the seat, and he had a lot of guns that were loaded, but that rifle was the fastest weapon he had for delivering a lot of rounds. And he was just shoving that into his weapon when one of our other officers took several shots and ended up hitting him in the head. And he ended up at Hennepin County with me, and he passed away several hours later in surgery. Again, remember, I had a good ending. I spent 11 months in the hospital and 26 surgeries before I left the first time. I'm now at 32. I just had the last one, but anyway, I survived. One of the main reasons I survived, Minnesota has a good blood centers and a good blood supply. That's some very good doctors, but without the blood, I wouldn't be here. And that's why I say I'm happy to be here this morning. Since that time, I had 2 kids that were in college and partially working at the time I was shot, ready to retire. I've seen both of those kids get married, and now both of those kids have given me grandkids. And about 3 years ago, I was down in Mexico with one of those families, my daughter's family, and my granddaughter, when she finally decided she wanted to go in the ocean, she told her mom, "Can I go with Poopa?" Which is me, because I was a diver my whole youth and spent a lot of time in the water. And she said yes, and my daughter was a high school swimmer too, so she wasn't anything to sneeze at, but anyway, she wanted to go with me, and I got to take her around an inlet in Mexico, and we saw maybe 10,000 fish, all colors, and about a 5-foot barracuda, the biggest I've ever seen. And that was parked over a little plain in the middle of the inlet. And she got a big kick out of that, and so did I. But
She was only 3 years old too.
a lot of good things have come out of something bad. And again, that's another testament to the good things that go on here in life and the good things that happen from giving blood. Time-wise, how are we doing, Mike?
Good. Yep. There's probably some questions.
Oh, anyway, I'll
sorry.
first do a little show and tell.
Hang on, I need you to go further.
Okay, that's a single round from an assault rifle right here. 6.5 inches, both bones, the Achilles and most, this is calf here. But anyway, that's what an assault rifle can do. And that leg, they kept it in place with a titanium rod for about 5 years until they asked me when they knew they could save the leg about 3 months into the incident. They asked if I wanted to get donor bone and have a single bone down my leg, or if I wanted to have it removed, in which case I would probably be more stable. As you see, without an Achilles, I shake some. But anyway, I figured, well, put on a leg every time you want to go to the bathroom at night, or have one that's permanently attached. I decided to go for the permanently attached thing, and they put in chunks and powdered bone around that titanium rod, and over a matter of 5 years, that solidified. And yesterday afternoon, I got to play golf with the police chief that was there before Jeff at Edina. So I'm happy to be where I'm at tonight. I got 5 pars, so. I really can't complain about my lot in life. One more really good thing. My daughter was living in Salt Lake City when I was shot. She flew home. My first memory, as a matter of fact, after I woke up from 10 days of sedation at the hospital, was my daughter whispering, "Dad, you've got to stay with us." And I'm kind of in heavy sedation, and I can see who it is. And that was the first time that I had a tube out of my throat. I said, "I will, honey. I've got to walk you down the aisle." And I got to do that. I got to walk her down the aisle about 3 years later. And the reason I was in that position, when I got home from the hospital, I'm sorry, it's a little disjointed. I haven't spoken for about a year, but anyway, when I got home from the hospital, we got a card from some high school friends. And they said, we'd like to get together. So we did get together, and we found that their son lived in Salt Lake City also, as well as my daughter. And we gave them, they were both single, we gave them each other's information, and after about 2.5 months, they did end up getting together. And that's the young man that I was talking about that is now my son-in-law. And he's a good provider and a hard worker, and I'm thrilled to have him in the family. And anyway, his dad was a terrific athlete at Minnetonka, still holds a bunch of the rushing records there. And that was that little 3-year-old girl's grandfather that was a friend of mine in high school. So good things do happen when bad things happen. So it depends upon your attitude, folks. You got to keep a positive attitude. And, you know, the blood donation is a terrific idea. And like I say, I'm here because of it. Oh, this is my sweetheart of 50 years.
I got married before I was born, apparently. Hi, I'm Sherry. I think what you forgot to say also was it was between God and the medicine that the doctors that saved him. If it hadn't been for his faith to lean on, because people said, must have been nice to have your faith to lean on, but actually it was holding me up the whole time. And there's so many miracle stories about when he was in the hospital. And just real quickly, one night after he got off the respirator, and I walked into the hospital because I had just gone, my girlfriend said, let's go down to the parade, the torchlight parade down, you know, the holodazzle. So I walked back in, and I felt nothing but positive things been going on. Even as dismal as it was always a light shining in the hallways, and just feeling just really positive things. So I walk in, and Michael looked at me and he says, there's 3 souls that are going. And I said, 3 souls? What do you mean? And I looked at him like, I'm thinking, you know, maybe it was him. And he looked at me and he says, it's not my time. He told me it's not my time. And 3 people did pass away within a 24-hour period. So
right close to me at the hospital.
You know, so he was on a different plane, and he was up here. I'm still here on the earth, you know. And sometimes I would walk in, and he'd say, I was flying over Lake Minnetonka. So, you know, there's really, really neat stories that we have to share too that are really fun. But if it hadn't been for all the beautiful people that we were meeting and all the pastors that would come to put their hands on him, or we get outside and have a circle, just wonderful things, and people reaching out and people saying, we're thinking about you. I've been walking through the hallways. So there's a really lot of neat, beautiful things. Police officers have a difficult time. And of course, we're not nuts about guns, but there's wonderful, wonderful police officers out there in a dismal situation right now. So we always have to think of the positive. Thank you.
Do we have any questions?
Or online?
Oh, do we have any questions? Go ahead.
What's your, not asking you to get political, but what's your feeling about civilian-owned assault rifles? Should there be a ban?
Yes, I
Could you
have.
repeat the question, Mike, so they can hear it there?
I'm not in favor of a 30-round clip. That's used for killing. I would just as soon, I have nothing against hunting. I did it myself in my youth. I kind of changed some practices over the years. In college, I drank a few times, and you know, I'd have maybe 3 drinks and drive home that way. And after you notified relatives a couple times on people that have passed from DWI accidents, that changed my feeling. But anyway, I'm not in favor of 30-round clips.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Just one.
couple more.
So how much blood did you get?
I got I think I'm at 121 units that I've used now. Most of those were early as I was losing a lot of blood with all the major blood vessels in your hips. And I had a round that was through the hips and destroyed both hips pretty much. So I went through a lot of blood, and I threw blood drives up. The last I heard that was a reasonable one was about 640 some units that had been donated in my name. I'm forever grateful for that. We had blood drives in a lot of different cities at that time. So I love the people that said prayers and donated blood, did all the things to keep me positive through a long recovery time. Yes, ma'am.
So the Teflon rounds that went into your torso, do you still have a lot of shrapnel?
I do. You can see it on x-rays when they were, like the last procedure I was in just a week ago. They were opening up another blood vessel to my lower leg and foot, and the color has improved immensely. It was mostly kind of a purple and was a little bit firmer on the skin from the blow up, and now it's lighter pink, almost back to normal color. And it heals faster. I'm thrilled to be where I'm at now. I should have had that done 10 years ago if I would have known. But anyway.
Mark, over there, Mark.
You have a short question? Yeah, I was just wondering where you got shot in the back. It evidently missed all vital organs.
That's a
I've got one round here and another one close to the spine there. It hit two different ribs, and I've got about that much rib from two different ribs that are missing. But it's kind of sharp end, so if you follow through wrong on the swing or something like that bone, sharp bone, still pierces the back sometimes. Anybody here?
Are you wearing a jacket? Are you wearing your,
Yes.
just below. Anyone online?
Anyone online? Hi, guys. Okay.
How about a round of applause?
On back to you guys for running the blood program. I appreciate it.
I'm at a loss of words to express how much I appreciate the difference in DNA that police officers have from the rest of us when they hear sirens or they get the call, they go running for it. The rest of us are taking cover. So really appreciate that. We give each week our speakers coin. Perhaps you're aware of it, but it's the 4-way test. And in the things we think, say, and do, is it the truth? Is it the fair of all concerned? Will build goodwill and better friendships. Will be beneficial to all concerned of that coin. And also, we will be giving an honorarium in your name to the Treehouse, which is a local organization that helps at-risk youth. So thank you, and I'm sure you'll be getting plenty more questions here to it. Please keep giving Chief Long a lot of crap because thanks, Kevin. Last minute master at arms, so we should be in for a treat here. He's pulling a rabbit out of his hat because Dave Oswald, and no one would be better at it than him. And do you have a helper, Mr. Oswald? Okay. And please, when it gets to happy dollars, to use the microphone so that people on Zoom will be able to respond. Thanks. All yours.
Good morning, Lakeville Rotarians. I'm almost at a loss for words. I just really enjoyed your presentation. Thank you for your service. sometimes seems like a trite thing to say, but it's not at all. It's not from the heart. I think all the rest of these Rotarians would agree that we are lost as a society without people like you. So thank you again for your service. So I've got the mic, I get to say that kind of stuff. So now, because I had so much time to prepare,
Pin check.
I was gonna say, let's do a pin check. You want the mic?
I've done.
Here and you folks don't have to play because you're exempt. But these three tables, are you paying attention? Doctor, paying attention? These three tables, what is the rarest M&M color?
Yellow.
In a normal bag of M&Ms, not a holiday bag, not an Easter bag, a normal bag of M&Ms. What is the rarest color?
Yeah.
An answer?
Brown. Blue. Brown.
Brown?
That's not an answer.
Is that your final answer for the whole group? Okay, follow-up question.
Was it brown or blue?
It was brown. According to Greek mythology, who was the first woman on Earth? You three. First woman on Earth, according to Greek mythology? Xena, warrior princess. You are a child of the 80s, aren't you? Yes. Any answer? Nobody knows. It's Pandora. Collect the buck. I don't make them up. I just read them. Some of these questions are just insane. Oh, how about these three tables here? These three tables here. In what year were the first Air Jordan sneakers released? In what year were the first Air Jordan sneakers released? Think about when he was playing ball. And your answer is? 1998? It's way off. What do you say? You're one of these three tables. Yes, watch that. You going 88? 1984, put it in the box, please. Trivia doesn't lie. If it's on the internet, it's true. And these two tables here, what's my middle name? You see it on all kinds of banks. You should.
I know what the addition is. What was your dad's name?
Dad's name was White.
Oh, then it wasn't that.
Going once, going twice.
Charles.
Christopher's, put it in the box, please. Thank you. And who deserves a fine? Oh, I know who deserves a fine today. All these people online that don't put their camera on, you're all in, you're in the meeting, but you're not letting us see you. So we want to see you. We need human contact. See, even Skip Fowler over in Wisconsin has a picture.
Not a pretty picture right now.
So. All right, yeah. If you didn't put your picture up, you pay a fine. And also, by the way, we do have a fine opportunity for a fine. When the reflection moment was given this morning, with apologies apparently, there was no asking for a blessing of people that prepare and serve the food. So being that, I would think that's at least a $2 fine. Yeah, do I have agreement?
Yes.
It's a $2 fine, Jim Christian. Any other happy dollars today? Anybody happy about something, about life, about blood donation, about anything? Happy dollars. Do I have a happy dollar? Do I have a happy dollar online? Because these folks are leaving me behind. Oh, look, Lowly put his camera on. I tricked you into that, didn't
David, I got one.
You just got dressed.
I? Got a happy dollar.
Happy dollar, happy dollar, yeah.
All right, we gotta do it on the microphone so the folks that else out on the line.
This is kind of a Lakeville Public Safety Foundation blog too. Have our sign up at our house, at our residence, and I've probably gotten a dozen people that knocked on the door and asked us where we got our sign that says Lakeville Police, Lakeville Fire, we support you. So if you're looking to sign up yourself, I figured like speaking today, so there's my happy dollar.
Perfect, happy dollar, thank you. Where, hang on a second. Can you tell us where we get those signs?
On the website, LPSFMN, or FMN.
Wonderful, go to the website. Well, deliver it, yes, sir.
In recognition of our speaker today, how many gallons did you end up receiving? Units, excuse me.
120 units originally. I think I'm at about 122 now.
122 units, okay. 126 units.
That's why they've
8
been
units in a gallon, right? Yeah. No, there's 8 units in a gallon. So anyway, it pleases me that I got my 25-gallon bin, which is like 200 units, and it took years to do that, and you consumed a lot. So the importance of, I don't mean that in a negative manner. I mean, it takes a long time. So for those that are donating, wow, what a story. And it makes what we do, at least on a volunteer, really worthwhile. So thank you for sharing your story.
30-gallon bin.
Mike, how many units do we usually get in Electric?
So I'm excited, Crossroads is my happy five for plugs and all that good stuff, is we actually did not cancel our summer festivity. We're gonna be doing our block party up at our Emerald Heights campus this Sunday. And we're gonna, on the 16th, at our Lakeville campus, we're doing our block party. We're not doing inflatables, but we're having food truck and socially distanced band coming in and jamming and some other fun stuff. So not quite the taste of Lakeville, but if you want to stop on by at Secret Odd next Sunday, we're going to be having a gathering in public outside. And you can have a mask on if you choose, or stand at least 20 feet from somebody.
Thank you.
Yes. Gotta hide the booze.
Good morning. Are you done yet? Good morning. I have 2 happy dollars. 1, I'm happy to be back. And 2, I would like to invite everyone to Colleen's house tonight, 5 to 8, to support fellow Rotarian Zach Duckworth, who is a first responder as well, supports our police, and he is running for Senate. So if that's a shameful plug out of here. He's running against Matt Little, and yeah, just saying. And he is a fellow Rotarian. So come to Killeen, support Zach, and that would be awesome. 5 to 8, if you don't know where Killeen lives, everybody.
It's kind of like the Mystic Lake Casino that she's got. Right.
I have sort of 2 happy dollars. One of my kids moved back home. There's a happy ending to it. So she goes to the University of Minnesota. It's been up in the air, but the U is going to have in-person classes, so she's moving out in a few weeks.
Any other happy? Colleen?
And following through with a few others, but thank you so much for your wonderful commitment. And thank you for the years you did it. And it's just, goes to show how much all of us need to support our first line people. And these very challenging and trying times, I work downtown Minneapolis on some stuff, and it just breaks my heart for the conversations going on. And when I see your commitment, your will to live, it just makes you realize what you really did as a servant. So thank you.
Sir. Any other? Yes. You know, one of the things we'd like from you before you go is some dirt on this guy. Can you wait just a second?
we had such positive things going on, and we had Edina Police Department, and you heard about police being a family. Well, Edina was pretty special, wouldn't you say, Jeff? And the people that would work Michael was laying there on a respirator, and he was, you know, on medications and so forth. And especially at the beginning, many of the guys would spend the whole night by his bedside. So when Mike would wake up in dismay because he didn't really understand what was really going on, he would just look over and Steve Marson would be sitting there with a little light on his hat, and he'd be reading a book at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. And then the guys would work, and he'd wake up on a Saturday, and Mike Lutz would be sitting at his side with his coffee and a donut sitting there, and Jeff knows how sweet that Edina was. So we saw all this mentoring and this nothing but love coming from the guys on the department and gals. So we started an organization. One of the guys who had been with Edina years ago, Jim Crawford, came to us. We started an organization called Minnesota Association for Injured Peace Officers. And we mentor other officers that get hurt in Lakeville, Savage, Mankato, Rochester, and so forth. So each of us are mentors to different other officers, because a lot of times after a couple weeks go by or a couple months go by, people get busy with life. It's not their fault. It just does. And so we try to reach out to other families and mentor them and reach out. So I've got a couple brochures if anybody's interested in that, because nothing's neater than getting support from not only your coworkers, but people in the community, and like you guys all just loving one another. And there's so many wonderful things that can happen because of out of a horrible situation. Thank you.
There's a cash shortage, so I I just wanted to say,
We do Venmo.
to the story that Mike gives, both he and Sherry are extremely humble. The recap he gives doesn't compare to what happened in real life. But one of the things I wanted to tell Michael I had the opportunity is, I'm a couple years younger than he is, but he was one of my field training officers. And one of the things that still sticks with me, Mike, I don't know if you remember this, is we get a lot of false alarms. We have an alarm system, just get rid of the damn thing, they don't work. I was a young guy, I was 21 years old. Mike was probably 22 at the time. But we went on an alarm. He's searching the house, and I'm like, this is bull ass. So we have to get information from our dispatcher. So I called the dispatcher and started getting information. And Mike ripped me a new backside because I put him in danger. He's searching the house, and I'm going, oh, fuck that, let's screw that, let's get the information. And so anyway, that stuck with me my entire career, that I passed on to the people that I trained. And Mike wouldn't remember that because it was so long ago. But he made a difference in my career in many different ways. But again, thank you for coming to speak, and thank you for all that you do.
Thank you, Chief. We appreciate your service as well. Any other happy dollars? Any other happy dollars online? Anybody? Clint?
Oh, sure. I've had a lot of good sailing outings since last Thursday. It was pretty windy on Sunday. Whitecaps all the way across Lake Minnetonka. I stayed upright. That was the important thing.
Good.
I'm very happy about that, so thank you.
Very, very happy. That'd be $2. Okay. So should we pick a ticket? All the way at the bottom. Here we go. Who has a ticket with the last 3 digits being 694? 694. 694 going once. You think so? Might be mine. No, it's not. Okay. Another ticket? Do you all have 697?
Okay.
Okay, money stays in the basket. Thank you, Mr. President.
Great job, Steve Oswald. He did that last minute, by the way, so hats off to you. Now, at the conclusion of our meeting, as always, we'll do the four-way test. Please rise. In the things we think, say, and do.
This is the truth. This is fair and all concerned. Will build goodwill and our friendships. Will be beneficial to all concerned.
Ding.